Hello guys, my name is Desmond and I welcome you to my lesson for today where we'll be looking at mathematics question number 5. Obviously, since the beginning of last week, we've been looking at your functions. So guys, please do allow me to say it is very much important, or until that I say it is very, very much important for us, because what I'm about to say, it's massively massively important, guys, that I say a day without learning something new. It's a day wasted. By so saying, please make sure that by the end of each and every lesson that I conduct, you learn something new. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen over there. So, did you guys see the question paper that was sent in the group?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 100%. So, in today's lesson, what I actually want to do is to read through the given statement, do a bit of an interpretation of the given function, and most importantly, show you exactly how you answer those questions. So, this question paper, guys, it comes from a grade 10 question paper. I just forgot the year, but I think this was a 2015 exam question paper. So just make sure that you understand exactly what is expected of you. So the question paper that we did yesterday, it was also taken from a grade 10 question exam question paper. So also this one, it's for grade 10 learners, and both of you guys are in grade 10. So just make sure, guys, that you don't leave me to move on to the next question without understanding what I would be explaining. So here's the statement. It says, remember, I'm just not sure. I think I had a bit of a disconnection. Can you guys still be able to hear me when I speak? Oratile, can you still hear
Yes,
me
sir.
on your side? Shreyas?
Yes, I can.
100%. So the statement reads as follows. So I was about to say, just in case if you want to read what I'll be reading, just click on your screen a button which says back and then go back into the group. Then we can together read the statement. But otherwise, if you can be able to listen, it's still fine. So the sketch below shows F and G. So this is F and G, as you can see over there. So now it continues to say the graphs of F of X is equals to, I'll just write it down over there to say F of X is equals to 1 over X minus 1, and G of X, it is equals to AX plus Q respectively. So points A having the coordinates of -1 and -4 over there, and B having the coordinates of X value being 3, there is B, 3 and 4 lie on the graph of G. So it's more like they're saying on that line of G, you've got point A and point B. So at that point B and that point A, you've got these coordinates. Let's continue. The two graphs intersect at points C and D. So there is C and there is D. So remember, the word intersect, it simply means where the two that are intersecting, they actually touch each other, meaning they are possibly the same at that particular point. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So now the last sentence of the given statement reads as follows. Line BE. Where is B? B, 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 B. There is B. Where is E? E, 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 E. There is E. So that means there is that line B, E is drawn parallel to the y-axis with E on F. So the reason why it is important for examiner to declare or to indicate or to let you know that this line BE, it is parallel to that line. It's more like, in short, they are saying this line, it is forming a 90-degree angle over there. In other words, they are simply trying to say this is a straight vertical line. It's not at a certain angle. It's not like a line forming a certain angle. It is actually a straight line. So that is the main reason why examiner had to say this line BE, it is parallel to that line. Otherwise, just like on yesterday's question, they just had that 90-degree angle symbol drawn over there. It doesn't really matter that much, but it might make sense as we continue with our question. So I think everything, almost everything, is self-explanatory. So it's more like we've got the information given on the statement represented there diagrammatically. So here comes the question. Remember, guys, remember, for you to answer my question, mention your name and I will recognize you. So here comes the question. How many functions are we having over there and what type of functions are they?
Rato.
Oh, Lerato has joined. Lerato, go for it.
So there are two functions. It's a hyperbola and a straight line function.
In terms of their names, what is what or which is which?
F of x is the hyperbola and g of x is the straight line function.
100%. So we've got two functions, and from those two functions, we've got a straight line. As you can see, it's just a line which is straight, even though it might look a bit skewed over there. But remember, this is a hand-drawn function, which is not to scale. So just be aware that it is a hand-drawn a sketch or diagram and not drawn to scale. So it's more like I just did a line without any measurements. I just put on those points over there. So you must not use a ruler to try. So you try and measure from there to there and say, okay, it seems to be so many units from there to there, whatever. Don't gauge the points by looking. But when necessary, make sure that you perform some calculations to check or to verify the exact coordinates or the exact values of those points over there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do agree that we've got f of x being a hyperbola, and g of x being a straight line. Something that you need to be aware of, Shreyas, that a value over there, it actually represents the gradient. So that means in this case, the gradient, it is not represented by letter m. As we know, it is normally letter m plus c. So in this case, the gradient, it is represented by letter A. They could have used any letter from A up to Z. Whatever letter that they use, just know this is the position for the gradient. There they used letter Q, of which we know what letter Q tells us more about that particular function. So now I think we might straight away need to just try and tackle these questions. I hope you guys did learn a lot from yesterday's lesson, which took about almost 2 hours. We had to have that lengthy lesson so that you guys have a bit of a revision of all that we have learned regarding functions. It's just 4 functions, guys, and normally examiner might question you based on 2 or 3 functions. Okay, so the first question says, show that A, it is equals to 2, Q, it is equals to negative 2. So they're saying show that A, it is equals to 2, and again show that Q, it is equals to negative 2. Is there someone who wants to suggest how can we possibly approach this type of a question? Just mention your name. Remember, guys, whether the answer is wrong or correct, it doesn't really matter as long as you can say something. You get lucky if you get it wrong, because I'm going to be able to help you to fully understand. But if you step back, someone is going to suggest it correctly and will just correctly answer the question, but you might not learn some more from something that is straight away correct. Is there someone who wants to give it a try by just trying to say whatever they think could possibly lead us to the correct answer, whether be it wrong or correct? Mention your name and I will recognize you, honorable member. Anyone?
Rato.
Okay. Is there anyone else who also wants to just say something regarding this question, which says show that A is 2, Q is negative 2? Anyone? Lerato, you are recognized.
So I think in order to find A, we will use formula gradient,
Okay, let's see.
which is
Which is
gradient y over x. Yes, so we'll use the 2 points on the graph of G.
Then let me just correct that over there. So which points are you considering to be your second points? Which ones as your first points?
Letter A, so will be my first point and B will be my second point.
Okay, so that means we are having y of b minus y of a over x of b minus x of a being equals to, what is a y of b? It's 4. What is y of a in brackets? Be careful. Negative 4 over x of b. It is that. What is that? It's negative 1. Be careful, guys, in brackets. Can someone punch that on a calculator? I think this is positive 8 over positive 4, and it gives 2. I think if you punch all of this on a calculator, it should give you. Shreyas, can you calculate that?
So here
Lerato?
is positive 2.
Positive 200%. So Lerato, how do we prove that the Q value is negative 2?
Then say we will use 1 point from between the 2 points and substitute in the formula in this g of x.
So between point A and point B, which one would you suggest that is best to use?
Point B, sir.
Why point B?
I'm choosing it because it has positive values.
Yes, so it's easy, guys, when you use point B because it has positive values. You are most likely to make mistake when you're not confident with functions or calculations when you use point A, which means already you have y, it's equals to 2x plus q. You can therefore say at point B, where x is 3, that is 4. So let's substitute. Y is 4. We know A, we have proved it to be that into what is x? X is 3 plus q. Then you can just transpose, which means you've got 4 minus 2 into 3 being equals to q. What is that? I think this is 6. So it's more like 4 minus 6. It is actually negative 2 being equals to q. So can you guys see that we have successfully proven that the A value, it is actually equals to 2, and the Q value, it is equals to negative 2. So are you guys happy with that? Lerato, ujabulile lapho? Uyayizwisisa?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I wanted to say Lebogang. I know, Lerato, you're the one who have taken us through this question. I wanted to say your sister there, uyayithola Lebza?
Ngiyathola sir.
Okay. Shreyas, offense Kensani Oratile. Are you okay that side?
Yes, sir. I understand it.
Okay. 100%. So now, let's move to the next question, being 5.2. So 5.2 says, determine the values of x for which f of x, it is equals to a g of x. Remember, guys, the question wants you to determine the values, and they've written it as values, which means you might, or not even you might, but you must have more than one value, and it's normally two values depending on the type of an equation that you'll be dealing with. So they want you to determine the values of x, whereby f of x is equals to g of x. Is there someone who can explain to us what do they understand of that question itself, where especially that part f of x is equals to g of x? What can someone say about that? Remember, mention your name, I will recognize you.
Rato.
Lerato, okay, noted. Another one who also wants to give it a try. Okay, Lerato, go for it.
So we'll equate the formulas of the graphs.
Yes. So if you remember, guys, on yesterday's lesson we did, I noticed Given wanted to dive in there. Given, I've already noticed your level of understanding, especially considering that you are in matric. So I knew you would have said the same thing. I'm just not sure about our fellow friends there. Notice Lebogang is on the line, Offense, Oratile, Shreyas. Okay, so everyone else who has joined this lesson, remember, guys, you don't need to worry that much about your response being correct or wrong. As long as you can say anything, it's just for me to be able to explain even better, because you might find that with us straight away answering this question, it won't make you notice some other things. But if you say something wrong, then I'm able to notice where you guys might be getting confused as far as functions are concerned. But it's fine, Rat. What you're saying, you said, where they say f of x equals to g of x, that's where you can equate the two functions. And because the question said determine the values of x, it means you might get two or more x values. It all depends on the type of an equation that you'll be having. Okay, so let's see. Let's equate f of x with g of x. What is the equation of f of x? You remember, there, it is actually 1 over x minus 1, this being equals to that. You remember, we just proven that this equation is actually 2x minus 2. So this is the equation of g of x that we can equate to f of x. So Shreyas, every time where you see another function or another graph touching each other with another function, that just know that at those points they are equal. With them being equal, we are simply saying they have the same x value and the same y value at that specific point. That's what is meant by the two functions being equal. So now, can you see? In this case, we have equated the two functions. An examiner did it on purpose to give you a hyperbola and a straight line, knowingly that you might need to apply your mathematical knowledge to work out this equation. Remember, when you have an equation to solve, Shreyas, the first thing that you want to deal with are the brackets. If you've got the brackets on your equation, that's your starting point. But otherwise, if there are no brackets, and let's say, for example, you've got a fraction similar to that one, you also want to get rid of it. And the best way to get rid of it is to multiply every term by whatever that is at the bottom. Why would you do that? It's so that you say this, you multiply it by exactly that. You also multiply this by exactly that. Whatever that you do on the left, you do on the right. Why would you want to multiply by x or exactly that? Is so that this cancels that cancel. What are you remaining with? You have 1. So you have negative 1 times x. What is that? This is actually negative invisible 1x, or adile, equals to, what is x times 2x? It is obviously 2x to the power of 2. You remember there is an invisible 1, invisible 1. So when you multiply bases which are the same, you add the exponents. That is why we're having 2 there and 1x, because it's the same base. So now, coming to this term, you've got 2 multiplied by x. The sign is the same. Then you have 2x. So can you guys see that it is very, very much important that you understand the type of a problem that you're dealing with? So this is an equation. Why am I saying it's an equation? Is because I see an equal sign. What type of an equation is this? Is it a linear or is it a quadratic? Because of that squared, it is a quadratic equation. So now, how do you deal with a quadratic equation? When you have a quadratic equation, at all times, you want to rewrite it in the standard form. What is the standard form? Is that one of this format of that plus that, everything must be equated to 0. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, over there. So now, remember guys, because on this side it has a positive a value, I might as well just move everything from the left to the right, which means I'll have 0 on this side. Then I've got 2x squared minus a 2x. When I transpose that, it changes the sign, it becomes positive x. This one again to the other side, it changes the sign, becomes negative 1, which means I've got 0 being equals to 2x squared. What is that? Minus x. What is this? Minus 1. So remember, this is negative 2 plus invisible 1. It gives you negative that. So easy. This is where you might need to factorize. We might as well use our inhloko. Let's teresa inhloko there. What are the factors there, ladies and gentlemen? Are we having 1, 1? I think we're having 1, 1. I remember we would say the bigger number takes the sign of the middle term, but in this case, we don't have a bigger number. They are all the same. But for you to get negative that, as we say, this to the that, this to the that, if you have negative that, this to the that, and if guys, remember, you've got 2 options to factorize trias. The first one is to use the methods that you were taught in class to factorize. The other method that Kensan is going to use, he's going to, there is a nhloko. The third method that Lerato is going to use, she's going to use a quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 ac all over 2a. So this is the other method that you can use to factorize. I hope these factors are correct, but be careful. When you use this formula, it is going to give you final answers. I'm sure when you calculate, it is going to give you negative 1, and when you change the sign, it is going to give you 1. So this formula, it gives you the final answers where x it is equals to negative half or x it is equals to 1. You therefore need to rewrite everything in reverse in order to get to that stage over there. Remember, this is where you say this is equals to 0. Then it's more like you are having a 0 being equals to 2x plus 1, or you've got 0 being equals to x minus 1. So can you see, you transpose and then you have positive 1. Also here, you transpose, it becomes negative 1, and then you divide by 2, it ends up being half over there. So I'm not sure, guys. Did I not lose you guys over there? Remember, the question said determine the values of x for which f of x is equals to g of x. So these are the 2 x values whereby this graph and that graph are equal. So the question now is, which one is which? So can you guys see that there we've got a positive x value, which means this is the one which is going to be 1, and that one there being c, it is the one which is going to be negative 1 over 2. I'm not sure, Kensani, if we're all on the same page over there. Offenses, Shabangu, why this is someone man?
Yes, I understand.
Are you also Tsonga, Shabangu?
No,
Pedi,
no,
Yini.
Ndebele.
Oh, Ndebele, okay. In which grade are you again?
Grade 12.
Okay, so that means you are familiar with what I've done over there, isn't it? Oratile, Shreyas, Lebogang, are we okay that side? Did that make sense,
Yes,
or
sir.
does it need an explanation?
No, sir.
Okay, sir.
No, sir.
Okay,
Sir,
100%.
sir,
100%. So now, that was 5.2 where
sir.
we had to equate the two. Mm-hmm.
So I was saying that we are about to have load shedding so this side, so I might be off and on.
Okay, noted, Mr. Given. So this lesson, guys, is being recorded. So in case if you're in a situation where the network is poor on your side, or otherwise you're about to experience load shedding, just be aware that this lesson is being recorded, is going to be posted, and you can still catch up. So yesterday's lesson is also posted. I'll share the link as soon as I'm done with today's lesson. It's unfortunate during this time of winter, we normally experience load shedding, but one thing for sure, towards September there, where you guys will be writing your preparatory exams, everything will be in good position. We'll be able to then, without interruption of load shedding, complete our lessons and obviously do more of extra lessons, because during those times the day is a bit longer when compared to during this time. So thanks very much for that indication that you do understand 5.2. So now, let me see, negative that and that. Yes, I've written them over there. Something very much important is that normally when you get your answers, just make sure that you've got a record of your calculations on the diagram. Otherwise, in case if you're writing on your notebook, so you'll be having calculations, so there won't be a need for you to be writing over there. But in my case, as I erase the calculations, I need to put in the info there. So 5.3 says, for what values of x is g of x greater than f of x? Sure. This is an interesting question, guys. This is an interesting question. So let's have a look at that. I'll just write down this question. So they're saying for which the word that they used over there is actually what. So they're saying for what values of x, for what values of x is g of x greater or equals to f of x. You know, this question is always tricky, guys, and like I said, in most cases it needs your mathematical experience. But I just want you to notice something, guys. Remember, we've got, let me put it in a form of a question. Do we have asymptotes there? And if we do, for which function? And again, how many asymptotes are we having there? Lebogang, kunjani lapho? Ngifuna ukukhuluma nawe. Singayixoxa le ndaba
Sir,
le.
I'm fine. Sir.
Singayixoxa le ndaba.
Yes, sir, sixoxe.
Kwenzakalani lapho? Baleka, 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 baleka. Ngenyawo zobi ubalekile. Baleka,
Asymptote for
baleka.
y is 1.
Usasekhona lapho? Angizwanga buthini lapho ngicabanga ukuthi ubalulekile ngicabanga ukuthi ubalekile lapho. Uthi kwenze
Yeah,
njani lapho?
I see one asymptote that is negative 1.
Okay, you see one. So how many asymptotes do we have over there?
1, sir. 1.
Okay. So I'm going to explain something. So remember, guys, for exponential function, Lerato, we always have one asymptote. But for hyperbola, we always have two asymptotes. So it's not about you, let's say, seeing one, for example. You just need to know that for exponential, it is going to be one asymptote. For hyperbola, it is always going to be two asymptote. You tell me, Lebogang, where or what happened to the other asymptote, since I'm saying for hyperbola we always have two asymptotes. What happened to the other one?
Okay,
Right,
sir.
Onche?
So it is within the y-axis. It is
Yes, yes. So Shreyas, um, Oratile, Retabile. So Bantu bagiti, I experienced a bit of disconnection there, but I noticed Oratile and Shreyas are still there. Okay, so Oratile and Shreyas, what I was explaining over there is to say, for a hyperbola, you always have a vertical asymptote and a horizontal asymptote. It depends on that value at the top, being the A value. If it's positive, we know we are always going to have our thing there and there. But if it was negative, we're going to have our thing there and there. So because in this case, we've got our thing in the first and the third quadrant, then we can just focus on those. So remember, we also have that straight line over there. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So now, this question which says for what values of x is g of x greater or equals to f of x. So it is actually those two values that you calculated. The tricky part here is for you to represent that in a form of an answer. Obviously, you can see there they've used the inequalities. So normally, let's see. So that means you've got, let's say you've got this first x value being negative half. And again, you've got this x value, what was it calculated? It was calculated to be 1 there. So now the question says for what values of x is g of x greater or equals to f of x. Already we know that at these 2 points, the two graphs are equal. But now, what other x values where when you punch on the graph of g, you end up having this graph of g being greater or equals to f of x. So this is what someone might do. You can maybe use any x value from half in that direction to test. And again, use any x value between half and 0. Use any value between 0 and 1. And again, use any value in that direction just to test what happens when you punch on this formula and you compare that same value on this side. So let's maybe try to calculate. Do you guys have calculators, all of you? I just need 2 of
Yes,
you
sir.
guys. Shreyas has got a calculator. Who else has got a calculator? Oratile, can you unmute your mic and tell me if you've got a calculator?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's try to do a very quick exercise. I'm not expecting you guys, especially in grade 10 and 11, to have a full understanding of this because it will take you some time to do more of this type of questions before you can learn how to analyze. So, Shreyas, we are going to test some values together with Oratile there. So, what other value it's in this direction? You can have maybe -1, and then value which is between half and 0. What value could that be? Let me try to check. Let me say -0.5 divided by 2. Can you see? -1/4. It is a number which is also between -half and 0 there. There is 0. What is another value which is between 0 and 1? Obviously, positive half, it is in between. And then a number on this side, it could be any number which we can just use 2. So it's more like I'm saying also they can use -7, whatever number, but just to make it easy, let's use -1. So Shreyas, you'll be punching on this equation of g. So it's more like you'll punch 2 into the x value being -1 minus 2. And then Oratile, you'll be punching this one being 1 over whatever x value minus 1. So let's try and punch -1. We just want to compare if we are getting a value which is greater or equals to whatever. So it's more like when we punch here, we want to try and compare with what we are getting on this side and to check if that is true based on that side. Can you punch that, Shreyas? What are you getting there? Oratile, what are you getting there?
-4.
So here you're getting negative 4. Oratile, what are you getting there?
So do I have to say 1 divide by any number or what?
And -1. So you punch the same x value that Shreyas is using there. Then we'll move to that, we'll move to this, we'll move to this, we'll move to this, we'll move to that. Or maybe, for the sake of being quick, I'm not sure if your network is poor there.
So
Or
she's getting -2.
Oh, she says she's getting -2. Okay. No, then it's fine. That is so. Now let's compare. Is -4 greater or equals to -2? Is that correct?
No, it's incorrect.
No, it's incorrect. -4 is not greater and it's not equals to -2. So that is not correct. So we want a statement which is correct. Let me maybe have a list of all of those. So you guys said you get -4, a -2 there. So that is not correct. But let's try using -1. Let's try -half. For -1, we are getting this. Let's use -half. What are you guys getting there? 2 into.
I'm getting -3.
On this side, -3. What are you getting there? 1 over -0.5 minus 1. I'm getting -3 there. Are you also guys getting -3?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 100%. So is this statement correct? Is -3 greater or is it equals to -3? Is this thing correct?
It is incorrect.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's correct. So this thing is two explanations in one. It's either this is greater than this or this is equals to that. So this statement is correct. So that means when we use negative, what is it? When we use -1/2, that is our first possible X answer, negative that. So we just try to test at different stages where this thing is correct or where the values of X satisfy that statement. Let's see what happens when we punch a quarter there. When you punch quarter there and quarter there, what happens? Let's see. 2 into -1 divided by 4 close minus 2. I'm getting -5/2 in
So I'm
decimal.
getting -5/2.
So this is it in decimal, Shreyas. So the reason why you want it in decimal is so that you can compare with whatever you are getting there. Let's see on the other side. So it's 1 over -quarter minus 1. I'm getting -5. I'm not sure if you guys are getting -5. So is this
Yes,
statement
sir.
correct?
-5.
Is this statement correct? Is -2.5 greater than or equals to -5? Is that correct?
No, sir.
Yes.
Shreyas, do you want to back up your response? Lerato, do you want to back up your response?
So I'm fine.
Shreyas, what did you say?
No, sir. It's fine.
Okay, so remember,
So,
guys, on it.
no, so it's fine. You can carry on.
Okay, so I was about to say, on a number line, negative 2.5 is bigger than negative 5. So that means this answer is it's also correct. So it's more like this from this in that direction. Let's test with 0 there to check if 0 also satisfy that statement. Let's see. So when we put in 0 there, here 0 it gives negative 2, but on the other side it gives error. Do you agree that if you put 0 there it gives error?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that means everyone, it means between 1/2 and 0, but with 0 not included because it gives us error. We cannot be able to compare that. So that means this section of that straight line, it is the one whereby g of x, it is greater or equals to f of x. How do you write that? So you're going to say between, do you guys agree that between half and 0, which is that section, that's where g of x is greater or equals to 0. Why am I saying that? Is because from there in that direction is not true, because we are getting that. So that means between negative a half and 0, that's where x, it is actually a greater than that one. So the way you write it, you say where x, it is less or equals to negative half, that statement is true. But for 0, we just do that and not equals to. Why not equal to? Because when you say equals to, it doesn't work out because it gives us an error. So that is why you will say where x is negative half, and also on this side of 0, that's where that statement is true. So if you put an equal sign there, you're going to get it wrong because this 0 is not included, but we're just saying in this direction of 0. So now let's try to do the same to test with a value which is between 0 and that one there. So let's substitute a half there and check what are we getting there. I think there we are getting what, 1 minus that is negative 1. I think there we're getting negative 1. Is it going to be greater or is equals to, what about here? I think here that is 2 and this is 1. Is it not 1 there? Are you not getting 1 there when you substitute half there? I think it's
No, so I'm
1.
getting 0.
So Shurias is getting 0. Is there another one who's also getting 0 there? When you say 1 over 2 minus 1, does it give you a 1 or 0? What are you guys getting there?
So into 1 or 1/2?
I'm
No.
getting positive 1.
We are now on a 1/2, Shreyas. Remember there we substituted 1/2. That's why I got a negative 1.
Oh, so I'm getting
I'm
positive
also
1.
getting positive 1.
Yes. So we get 1. So now, is this statement true? Is negative 1 greater or equals to 1?
No, sir, it's incorrect.
This is incorrect. Therefore, it means between 0 and, let's say, between there, it is not correct. So that means any number that you substitute which is between 0 and that one we haven't tested it cannot be correct. Let's try to test with 1 and see if we're going to get a correct statement or a true statement. When you substitute 1 there, you have 2 times 1, which is 2 minus 1, you get 0. So you get 0. Is 0 greater or equals to there? 1 over, you punch 1, is 1 minus 1 is 0. Do you guys get it? That is this statement true or is it correct?
It is correct.
Yes, it is correct, which means this is our other possible answer. So let's test with 2. So remember, 2 represents any number on this side of the x values. So if you put 2 there and you put 2 there, what do you get? You have 2 times 2 is 4 minus 2 is 2. Is 2 greater or is equals to, what is this? This is 1 over 2 minus that. I think you get negative half there because it's half minus 1. So yes. So is this statement true or not true?
It's correct, sir. This one.
Yes, it's true. So that means, Lerato, where x it is greater, when we say greater, we are saying all the values greater than this other value being 1. Or otherwise, where x it is also equals to 1, we have this statement being true. So that means from this point up to that direction, that's where we have the x values from 1 going in that direction. When we substitute there and there, we have this statement being correct. And again, when we substitute values between negative half and but not including 0, we get correct statement where when we punch the x values, they are actually greater or bigger than the x values there. So this was a very tricky question according to me. And the reason I'm saying that is because it is also not easy for me to explain, but it only makes a perfect sense if you have done more and more and more of this type of equations. So that means another question may say where x is less than f of x. Can you see? That means you use these values or the x values of the points of intersection to construct your answer. Can you see? We do not use -1, we do not use quarter, we do not use half, we do not use 2, but we use this to just test, and also that 0 there. We just use those to test. But when you write your answer, it will be based on the x values of the points of intersection. Then you will need to construct it such that you tell, if you say from this point where x is 1, in that direction, that's where you have that statement correct. Or maybe from this in that direction, but not including 0 because 0 gives you an error. That's where you have that statement correct. Then you continue to test on this side again. The reason why you test on both sides Shreyas, is because you have this drawn on both sides. If it was just on one side, or maybe, for example, if it was an exponential, you might find that maybe your x value is 1. It all depends on how the question was asked. I'm not really confident with what I've explained, guys, but I hope you guys were able to notice something there. I'm not sure if Oratile, would you allow me to move to the next question and make a conclusion to say, after you've done more and more and more of this type of functions, then you will rewatch this lesson to try and check if you will have a better understanding. Would you agree, or let me continue, Retabile? Lerato, do you allow me to continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now let's try and move to question 5.4. So 5.4 says calculate the length of BE. So can you guys see the length of BE? For this one, I'm going to choose Shreyas. I want you to say whatever that comes to your mind on that question. Do you want to give it a try and say something about that, regardless of your answer being wrong or correct?
So maybe we can use g of x.
Or maybe, how can we use a g of x, Shreyas?
So maybe we can say that 2, where x is substituted by 3 minus 2. Or we can substitute x by 4.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yes, I'm glad, Shreyas, you made a comment. It shows that you do have an idea of what we are talking about over there. So it's more, I did not expect you to give me a correct answer on this one, Shreyas. I know you're still in grade 10 and you're still being exposed to this type of problems. So before I even answer, let me also give another one an opportunity to share their thoughts. Oratile, do you also want to say something there? Balega ngenyawo zobili. Retabile ubaleki. Oh, Sasekon. What can you say there, Retabile?
I said no, say.
Oh, so you don't have an idea on that one, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now Oratile and Shreyas, Lerato, do you want to say something before I explain?
Sir,
Mm-hmm.
you can carry on.
Okay, so
Oh, sir,
mm-hmm.
sir, all I can say about point is that the x value is 3.
Oh yes, yes. All you can say is that the x value is 3.
Yes.
Is 3. Okay, all right. Thanks for that comment, Lerato. Shreyas, maybe let me get back to you again. I think you had a point you had a point, a very good point, Shreyas. Why, Shreyas, would we substitute 3? What would be the reason to substitute 3, Shreyas?
So maybe because the x value.
Okay, all right, it's fine. Then I'm going to explain. Lerato, remember, they want us to calculate the length of BE. So every time when the question says calculate the length, it's more like they just want you to tell how far it's from that point to that point. And for you to tell, that's if you know the y value of B. And again, if you know the y value of E. Because once you do, you will say from there to there, if it's 7, and then from there to there, it's -1. So it's more like it's 7 and 1, which is 8. So now, how can we calculate that y value? And again, how can we calculate that y value? I'm not sure if someone is having a light. Can you tell how can we calculate the y value of B? Otherwise, do we have it if we don't have to calculate it? And then for E, how can we calculate the y value of E? And again, do we have it if we have it? Is there someone who's now having a light and want to say something there?
So I think we must try to get the y value for the graph of for E. Yes, sir. And we'll use the graph of f, right? And we'll substitute with the x value, which is 3. Then we'll get the y value. From there, we can approach it, sir.
100%. So you are having some light now, Lerato. Can someone tell what is the length from that point E to point B? What is that length, guys? Lerato, do you want to guess?
So are we calculating the final answer?
No, not. We can just forget about the answer. But what is the length from E to B? Do we know, or we can calculate it?
So we can calculate it.
Now I notice something. If you guys keep quiet, it becomes a bit challenging for me to help you guys. I think now I'm going to make things a bit better. If we have y and x, if we have a point there, and they say this point is 3 and 3, guys, it simply means from there up to there, it is actually 3 units. And again, from there or from there all the way up to there, it is actually 3 units. So that means this length from the origin to there is that 3. From the origin to there, guys, it is this 3. So this is x and y. This is the vertical length. This is the horizontal length. If you have a point there, Shreyas, and they say this is point A, and they say this is -4 and -3, it means from there to there, it is 3 units. And again, from there to there, it is what? It is 4 units. It's only that we say it's negative because it's on this side of the quadrant. So every time when you see a point, let's say a point similar to that being point A, this -1, it means from the origin up to there, it's 1 unit in terms of the length. From there, everything starts from the origin all the way up to there. It is 4 units. Does it make sense now, Lerato? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
O ratile? Wa utlwisisa? Serious? You get it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I get it.
So now, my question is, what is the length from that point to B? What is that length?
4 units.
It's 4 units.
100% is 4 units. So, Lerato, can you see that we don't need to calculate that length because it is given there as a point to say from there to there is 4. So that means this is 4 units in terms of length. But now, what is the length from E? No, not from E, but from this point there to E. What is that length? I think maybe I've been confusing that E with that point over there. So I might have asked this question, Lerato, and you might um, wanted to answer it, but because I was confusing that point E. So that point E is that one. So first time when I said what is the length from E to B, Lerato, I wanted to say what is the length from that point there to E, not necessarily from E to there. Maybe you guys, you understood it. It could be that when I asked a question, I'm the one who wasn't clear in terms of from where to where. But this is E. Maybe let's call this point, let's say Z. Let's call it Z. So my question is, what is the length from Z to E? Do we know it or can we calculate it?
We can calculate it, sir.
Yes, we can calculate it just like you said. So it's more like we know that ZB, it is equals to 4 units. Now we want to calculate ZE. So ZE, Shreyas, it's a point on which function? Can you tell me, Shreyas? It's a point on which function?
Hyperbola.
Yes, hyperbola, being y is equals to 1 over x minus 1. So obviously we are trying to calculate the y value because it is the one that is going to give us the vertical length. But what is x along that line, Shreyas?
4 units.
Wait, what did I say? Okay, let me ask again, Shreyas. What is the x value along this line? Yes, now I've asked it correctly. What is the x value along this straight line of BE?
4, sir.
Okay, no, then it means you are getting it incorrectly, Shreyas. So remember, Shreyas, 4 is the length from Z to B, but the x value this is the x value, this is the y value. So the x value is 3. So that means this line is passing through the x value being 3. But the length of z to b, it is the one which is 4, and 4, it is the y value. So that means for you to calculate, you are going to say 1 over 3 minus that. What is this when you punch it on a calculator? What is that? 1 over
negative 2 over 3.
It's negative 2 over 3.
Yes, we're getting negative 2 over 3. So that means that length, it is actually negative 2 over 3. But because it's a length, then it's a positive. But the y value, it is the one which is negative 2 over 3. So that means length of BE is actually equals to 4 units plus 2 over 3 units. What is that? Are you guys getting 14 over 3
11
units?
over 14 over 3, sir.
14 over 3.
So that means the length of BE is actually 14 over 3. So do you guys still remember from yesterday's lesson where I said the other way of solving this question? That's if you say, do you still remember me saying BE is equals to top graph minus a bottom graph? Is there someone who remember me saying this on yesterday's lesson?
Say, I remember.
Yes. So
Yes, sir.
can you guys see that which graph is now at the top? Which one is at the top? Or which point is on the top and is on which function?
It's point B.
It's point B, which is on the graph of G. So that means is 2x minus 2 minus into 1 over x minus 1. Why would I do this? It's because what is it? It's because this is the graph of a hyperbola which has a point being at the bottom. Maybe there we should actually say top point. Top point and then minus bottom point. So can you see this is the point at the top, this is the point at the bottom. So now you can simplify this. So you have 2x minus 2, that by that it gives you minus 1 over x, that by that it gives you plus that. So what is it when you punch what is it? No, you cannot work out these two because they are not the like terms. They just remain as 2x minus 1 over x. And then these two, you can work them out. I think minus 2 plus 1, it is minus 1. So now what I'm saying, at where x is equals to 3, you remember we said that x value, it is 3. So what I'm saying, Lerato, is that this is now the general formula for calculating that length, which means where you see x, if you substitute 3, and then you punch everything, you must also get that 14 over 3. Can someone punch that and tell me if you are getting that? If you are getting that, then it means this is the other possible way in which you can solve that, where you need to determine using top point and bottom point. Can someone confirm that before we move to the last question?
Say I'm getting 14/3.
100%. Does it make sense now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just make sure to never forget that if you are given a vertical broken line between 2 points, examiner is most likely to ask you to give the length between those 2 points. So now, moving to the last question, being 5.5, the question says, write down, write down an equation of h. Let me just write that at the bottom because it's a bit long. Write down the equation of h of x being equals to f of x plus 3. I'm not sure if there's someone who wants to give it a try. Otherwise, if it doesn't make sense, you can just say no objection so that I explain with understanding that it doesn't make sense to you guys. And it's allocated 1 mark. Trias, Lerat, Oratile, do you guys want to give it a try?
Say Lorato, sir.
Uh-huh.
Say I don't know, but can I try?
Yes.
Say I think say we use the equation of f of x, then we'll add 3 to get the equation of h of x.
Easy, 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 easy. So it's more like this question. They say, write down an equation of h. So h is the new equation, whereby you just add 3 from the equation of f of x. So it's exactly that, Lerato. They want you to give an equation of the new thing, whereby you just plus 3 on the graph of f of x. So it's more like they want you to shift f of x by 3 units upwards. And they say, what will the new equation be? So you just say, what is the graph of f of x? What is it? Is there? Can you see? It's 1 over x minus 1. So you just plus it with that 3. Then you simplify. What is h of x? It's 1 over x. What is that when you punch it on a calculator? Is it not 2? I think it's 2. Then it's positive 2. And this is exactly how you score yourself, 1 mark for this question. They just give you a mark for that final answer there. Did that make sense to everyone, guys?
Yes, I understood now.
Retabile,
Sir?
Otabile 4.
Yes, sir, I understand.
100%. So, guys, thanks very much for joining. Merci beaucoup. I hope you did enjoy as much as I did, with the hope that you did learn something new in today's lessons. Guys, I'll see you on our next lesson. Probably tomorrow, we might be doing our last question on functions. And then from there, on Monday, we'll be starting a complete new chapter. I'll just see what to prepare over the weekend. But guys, thanks very much and have a very good night.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Thank you, sir.
So